Alright, welcome back everybody. And we're going to kind of pick up. I hope everybody's doing well. And things are going good, and so forth and so on, and such and such. So we're going to pick up kind of where we left off on the last video. Still dealing with these things. I decided to take these things off that I had put on. I put it on wax paper so I could peel them off and put them back on, because these little things are kind of hard. So I had a change of plans, and I had a different idea about these Aztec things, these paint masks. So what I'm going to do is, and we'll see how it works out. So I'm going to start like this. You know, where am I? Right there. I'm going to start like this. Okay. So all I've got on here now is the white paint. And yeah, so right there. My little hand there. So all I've got on here now is the white base color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bunch of these little greebly paint mask things, you know, on here. And they're just different sizes, different shapes. And I'm going to put a bunch of them on here. I'm going to put a bunch of them on here. I'm still trying to get this figured out. All right, there we go. Like this. And I'm going to put just random spots all over this thing, all over them. And then I'm going to paint on a color. And these colors that I'm using, I don't have them handy right quickly, but they're Vallejo Color Shift. I got a pearlescent, just pearlescent, which is going to be my next coat. And then I've got some Color Shift from Vallejo, and those ought to be pretty cool. So what I'm going to do, instead of trying to lay down these elaborate paint masks right offhand, I'm going to start with these, because the whole idea is it's supposed to look like, it's supposed to give the illusion, like I said before, of having panels, you know, instead of, you know, just a whole bunch of different small panels that make up the larger panels. So that being said, I'm going to put a whole bunch of these little greeblies down. There's a bunch of different shaped ones on the mask, main mask thingy, and yeah, crazy stuff. Anyway, so starting off with my base color here, I'm gonna put a bunch of these little greebly things on, and I'm gonna spread them all over this thing. And then I'm gonna spray on my pearlescent, and then I'm gonna put more that are gonna highlight the pearlescent underneath, you know. Then I'm gonna put a whole bunch more on there, and then I'm gonna spray one of my other colors, and so forth. This stuff is not gonna go on thick. It's just a real thin, you know, almost transparent, you know, unless it's Color Shift, so you have to kind of, you know, look at it in certain light and whatever, so it's not going to be thick. So I'm going to do that, and each layer that I paint on, I'm going to put some more of the little doodads on there. And then eventually, once I get through those Color Shift, and then when I go to put on my final color, my whole color, that's when I'm going to start using some of these larger ones, and they're going to go over the top of all. You know, once I get all the Color Shift ones done that I want to do, I'm going to peel off all those masks. So they're going to add up. So they're going to have some that'll be white underneath, pearlescent, and then some of these other Color Shifts. I'm going to peel all of those off, and then start putting these type on. You know, like on these big flat surfaces, you know, I'm going to put some of these type on there, and, you know, some of these other ones, and there's various other ones, you know, that I can use. I really can't, I mean, it's even, like I said, it's even kind of hard to see, but there's all kinds of different shapes and forms, and all kinds of different little zigzags, and you know, that I can throw on there, you know. And hopefully it all turns out. But like I said, the last paint masks I'm going to put on are going to be these type here, you know, and they're going to go all over, you know, all over the You know, and this is going to be a process. It really is. It's like I said before, this is going to be a process, and I generally only get like a day or so of time that I can do stuff like this. So there's going to be progress, and I'm going to show the progress. So I'm just getting started now. I took off all the ones that I put on the other day and put them on this here, and then because that's when I had my epiphany at work. And so yeah, I'm gonna add a whole bunch more of these types of things and some of these other ones, you know, that are on the mask that it's hard to see, but yeah, and it ought to be interesting. And then, like I said, the final thing I'll put on, I'll take off all these other ones that I've already put on that have all the different color shifts under them, and then I'll put on the other ones and then do my final whole color. And I got to put some tape over these here because they're going to be a different color. So I'm going to put some tape over these grills here because these are the engine grills, and there's not going to be any hull plating on the engine grills, obviously. And but I've got a lot of ship to do, and then it's not as big as a Star Trek type ship, but it's gonna be time consuming. So I'm gonna get all the first layers on, the first layers of whatever, and then I'm gonna shoot my color over it, and then I'll put more on with that color, and then I'll shoot some more, and then put more on, and shoot some more. And, you know, there'll be a lot of little areas there that's going to have the color shift stuff on it. And then, again, for my final is going to be those big Aztecing pieces. So, yeah, this is going to be a time-consuming little endeavor here. And I will, you know, pop back in now and again to show you where I've gotten and how far I've gotten and so forth. And, excuse me, I just had breakfast and it's all settling. But anyway, so stay tuned. I will be back and show you my progress as far as what I've gotten done, because I'm going to try to shoot all these colors at the same time. So, yeah, I'm going to paint mask the shit out of all this stuff. And because this is the first part, this is the first part that I'm going to start putting together and putting lights and stuff in. So I want to get this done first, and then I'll go to the main part there. So I'm going to get all of this stuff done first, because I got a lot of lights and wiring to do in these parts here. I keep forgetting about my little pointer thing. So yeah, I'm going to get all of this stuff here done, everything except the main hull. And get all my lights and all my wiring and all that stuff done in that part. This here, and then I'm going to concentrate on the main hull, which I'll have to go back through and do the same thing with the little greeblies and so forth, and the paint mask I'm going to use for the windows. These windows on the main body, I'm going to be using fiber optics, and it's just not large amounts. It's just enough to go through the hole and project the light out, because I'm gonna have light strips on the inside there, and then just the fiber optics, you know, where I already drilled the holes, and it's basically just gonna go through the hole, and that's it. They're not gonna be large amounts of fiber optics running inside there. It's just gonna fill in the hole basically, and then that will project the light. So, and when we get to these parts, I'll show you how I'm doing it anyway. It may not be the right way, but it's how I'm doing it. And so yeah, so that's where we are right now. So I'm gonna get started on my paint masking stuff, and we will be back so I can show you my progress on how much I've gotten done and so forth. Yeah, and that's going to include this part too. So it ought to be interesting, hopefully. Anyway, so there we go. All right, so that's basically the first layer You know, that's the first layer. One down, so I had that taped over that too, but so that's kind of what I'm looking at there. So I'll paint over that, and then I'll put some more down, and then when I peel them all up, obviously all of these ones here are going to be white, and then the other ones are going to be. So yeah, that's the first layer of one down, and I got 3 more of these, and then I got this. So onward and upward, I guess. So yeah, anyway, gonna be tedious, but if it all works out, it should hopefully look pretty good. If not, then it'll look like dog crap, but you know. Anyway, sorry, bye. We'll be back in a bit. All right, everybody, we're back. And I've managed to get the first round done on all my stuff. Let me zoom in just a bit here. And so, as you can see, I've got all the wings done. Well, I call them wings, but they're not wings. So this is just the first round. Okay, this is just the first round of paint masks. These are the tops. This one and this one are the tops of the wing. I don't know, bottoms obviously, and then this is the pylon basically that these attach to. I've got the first round of stuff on there, and I'll tell you, these paint masks are a chore, buddy. Especially the small ones. These are the small, I think, because these are for the 1000 Enterprise refill, which is the really small one. I mean, if you look at the size of it. That's his finger going. That's his finger going into the secondary hull. Okay, that's somebody's finger in the sensor thing. I believe that's what that is. But anyway, so yeah, this is the small spaceship. This is the small Enterprise, 1/1000 scale. Yes, he's got his finger in the deflector dish hole there, so you can see how small it is, and that means that these paint masks I'm using are very, very small, with very, very small pieces. So yeah, that being said, so like I said, this is the first round. I got the top and the bottom of that. Which there'll be more, but it's just, these are just covering up the white paint. So underneath all these, after I paint everything and tear all the paint mask off, all this stuff's gonna be the white, and you know, so forth and so on. So yeah, man, these things were a chore, but so yeah, I'll get my next color is going to be the pearlescent. It's just white pearl basically, and it's going to go over all of this, you know. And then I'll put more paint masks down, and then I'll I'll put more paint masks on here and here, and then I will spray on some of the color shift, one of the color shift paints, and then put more masks on, and then more color shift and more masks until, again, and the color shift and the pearlescent are very thin. They're going to be very thin coats, you know what I mean? They're very thin, so it's not going to be like 15 thick ass layers of paint on these parts. They're thin layers, and then again, the very last layer is going to be my main hull color. But some of these things I'm saving. Some of these things I'm saving to maybe use as I go along. yeah, but this is time consuming, just like I thought it would be, but yeah. So I got the grills. Taped off on both of them, and so yeah, that's where I've gotten so far. Next step is going to be shooting that pearlescent over this. So I'll have to clean my table up a little bit, make room for some painting and whatnot. But yeah, like I said, if it turns out in real life to look like it looks in my head, it should be pretty cool anyway, considering this ship never had, you know, Aztecing or anything on it originally. So, but yeah, that's my plan. Yeah, I want to get this, like I said earlier, I want to get this painted up and done with the painting on this part. That way I can start working on my lighting and running my wires and all of that for this part. And when I get all that done, then I'll start working on the main whole part and doing it, the wires and whatnot for it. So yeah, that's where we are so far. Making progress. All right, and I will talk at you in a bit. I get that first coat of paint shot on there. Okay, so I forgot to turn on my microphone for this section here, but it's basically just me putting the first pearlescent coat on. I figured I'd just show this part of me painting because it's really just, this is pretty much it. So I mean, and it doesn't look like I'm putting anything on there because that pearlescent is pretty it's pretty clear. It's basically just got like metal flake in it or something. But anyway, so yeah, just me sitting here putting the paint, putting that first coat of pearlescent on there. This is the stuff I used. The brand is Gold, I guess. It's something I found on Amazon, and the reviews said it was pretty good, and you don't have to thin it. I personally did not have to thin it anyway. So, but so yeah, like I said, this little section here is just, I'm just putting the paint on, or putting that first coat on over the paint masks that I put down in the last little section, and just yeah. I can't believe I forgot to turn my dang mic on now. But really wasn't too much talking that needed to be done here. Of course, I'm pretty sure I was rambling on, you know, as I was doing this, but yeah. I'm still working on my paintbrushing skills too. I mean, there's times when you know, when I use the paintbrush, it comes out as close to perfect as I can get it, and then there's other times when I'm fighting that thing. Everything I do, I'm fighting it. So, but yeah, that stuff, like I said, it's pretty hard to see where you've, because it was just basically white pearlescent, and so yeah. But it went on really good. I mean, I used it later on, you know, again, kind of almost a top coat, and so it turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I will be using that again, I'm pretty sure. But so yeah, that's really all I'm doing here. Just painting this. Put that first top coat, as I keep saying. Yeah, here I am showing it again because I can't dropping stuff. Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do. Let's see. So I've got those done for now, and we are gonna move on. I'm assuming that I'm fixing to move on to those other two pieces. I'm just double checking it here to make sure I got it on. Yeah. So just making sure I got it on there and that it looks pretty much the way I wanted it to. So, but yeah, like I said, I just wanted to kind of show that I am, I didn't want to show all the painting because it's very tedious. The rest of the steps are pretty tedious. But yeah, I'm just rambling away, not completely oblivious to the fact that I don't even have my mic turned on. But anyway, that's what I do. That's my mess. That's my mess I do whenever I post something. There's always something going on. But so yeah, I hope everybody's doing well, and we're gonna move on to the next part here. I was just showing this one step, and then I'm gonna put some more paint masks down and start doing the other coats and the other colors, and then we'll be back when I get to a point that I want to stop at. All right, everybody, we are back, and as you can see, I've been busy. Now, the Aztecing type thing I started on here didn't turn out exactly the way I wanted it, but I mean, it's there. I mean, I learned some things about it and how it turned out. So this is gonna be a different look for the protector. I've taken some artistic license with it, I guess you could say. And I like it. It turned out, and it was very tedious. It's like I knew. I mean, it's very tedious. In the sunshine, this thing's going to look awesome. But you can see it's got the little bit of shimmer to it, and depending on the light. And yes, I know the red is a little bit overpowering, and I didn't realize because I should have put that one on first. That should have been my first layer, and then the other one should have went on afterwards. But it's all a learning experience, and besides, everybody can do this model if they choose. They can do it the way they want. I keep adding more and more stuff to make this thing more and more complicated for me. This Aztec, and this is just for the wings, and that I still have the main hull to do. But I'm going to start with the lighting on this one and this part. So it's the largest part, but I'm going to have to go back, and I still have to go back and do the main hull part. But like I said, as you can see, I've been busy painting. I'm going to consider this the NSCA Protector refit, because it's going to be the same ship, but it's going to look a tiny bit different as far as the hull and stuff. And I've still got more stuff to do. I'm going to do some panel lining and things like that. Like I said, I keep giving myself more and more stuff to do. So yeah, But I mean, again, these models, I mean, you can do them exactly like, you know, the original thing, or like the box art or whatever. You can do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I just wanted to do some different stuff. And again, like I said, I keep making it more and more complicated as I go. Even on the box art, these parts here, you know, these parts, where's my little thingy at? Come here, you. Oh, God damn it. Where it is, there it is. David's camera skills getting better every day. But anyway, these parts here, even on the box art, these things right here, these grills, and this and this part here is gray. Like I said, even on the box art, it's gray anyway. These are the parts I had taped off when I was on the previous update. So yeah, these are the parts that I had taped off, and they were gray. And I said, well, I want to do black instead of gray. I mean, you know, and I wanted these grills to be, you know, because it's not the grills, it's the light that's going to be behind them that's going to be, you know. So yeah, this was a lot of painting. This was a lot of tediousness. So this took me a while to get it all said and done, as far as this part. I'm not completely finished yet, because there's, like I said, I want to do some panel lining, and I want to put the decals on, and then I'm going to shoot some matte clear over the top of it all and seal it all in. So, but I wanted to get the painting, like I said before, I wanted to get the painting done on this before I start working on the lights, because all of these little things that I have, these little holes I've got drilled out for lighting, like right there's a little hole you can't hardly see because of the black, but there's a little hole there, there's a little hole there, because that's going to be a strobe. This is going to be a marker right in here on this corner. There's another little hole you can't hardly see. But anyway, you'll see them when I get the lights, when I get the LEDs in them. So there's going to be a strobe here at the bottom. So yeah, but I mean, it turned out, I think it looks pretty cool, honestly. I should have, like I said, I should have did the red first instead of last. I should have had that down, you know, because it's a little brighter and a little more, you know, and it's really toned down because I've sprayed a little bit of the pearlescent over the top of the red, you know, and it's toned it down a bit, but not a whole heap. So yeah, this is gonna, I mean, it's, you know, it looks good. I'm happy with it. It's not exactly how I wanted it to turn out, but it does still have that it does still have that bit of hull plating type of thing. It's not exactly like you know, the Star Trek stuff, but I don't know. I think it looks interesting. I think it's got a little bit of different character to it. Maybe space camouflage. Maybe that's what I'll call it, my space camouflage. But yeah, so I'm like I said, for the most part, it turned out the way I wanted it to. It's just I should have did that first. I should have did the red first, and I know that. So you don't have to remind me, or left it out altogether. But you know, it's interesting, I think, and I think it'll turn out pretty good. So yeah, so like I said, this is an update, kind of let you know where I'm at with this so far from the last installment. And like I said, I want to do some panel lining on it, and I want to do some decal. There's a decal, the NSCA protector decal goes right here, and a couple other things, and get it all done up. And then I'm going to shoot some matte clear over the whole thing to seal it all in. And then I don't know, I might do some other stuff, but I don't know. I'm making this build way more complicated than it originally started out to be, because I keep thinking about stuff, and I'm like, damn, that would be cool, like changing this from gray to black. I just thought it would be more of a contrast with the rest of it, and so yeah, that's my plan so far. So we're getting there. Like I said, I got a few more things to do to all of this, and then I'm going to matte clear it, and then I'm going to get started on doing the wiring and the lighting and all that. And that'll be interesting. So don't go nowhere. Anyway, we will talk at you in a bit. Bye. All right, we are back, and I have gotten all that I'm gonna do. I got all the painting done. I got the decaling done. Got the got all the decaling done. Got the panel lining done. Got the matte clear coat on it, sealing everything in. So yeah, yep. So there we go. But yeah, so they got it done. So as far as this is concerned anyway, I've got all the painting, decaling, panel lining, and everything is done. So yeah, like I said, it's not exactly the way I wanted the Aztecing or whatever you want to call it to turn out, but I'm still happy with it. Unfortunately, I have to make, when I do the main hull. Yeah, there weren't any decals on this, so I just did a matte clear on it with the panel lining. So when I do the main hull, I'm gonna have to do it the same way I did this, because if I do it the way I should have did it and did the red orange first, it's going to look completely different than this. So when I do the main hull, when I do the Aztecing and painting on the main hull, I'm going to have to do it the same way I did this, so it all matches. But that's okay. Like I said, in hindsight, I should have did that first, so the other paint would kind of, mellow it out just a bit. But I'm happy with it. And it's not like I'm gonna do it over. Not after all that. No, I'm not gonna do it over. But but yeah, I guess this will probably be the last of this particular episode, because I wanted to get all this painting done on this part so that I can start. The next episode is basically going to be me wiring the lights onto this part. The main hull is just going to be lights. And I've got a few strobes that I'm going to put in there, but all of the main, the engine lights and the nav lights and the strobe lights and everything else is going to be, the bulk of it is going to be on this part. So I'm going to do, because the main hull is basically just going to have some LED strips in it, maybe a couple of LEDs in this part to light the inside, for the windows and whatnot. there'll be a strobe up here on there, and then there's going to be a couple more strobes on the main hull, but mostly that's just going to be strobes and just LED strips in the main hull. Most of the intricate wiring and lighting is going to be in this part. So, oh, and these are the color shift, the Vallejo color shift that I used, and I used, let's see, what was it? The violet orange, that's this outside color. Electric blue. Let me see. Let me make sure here. Yeah, bright golden brown. Green, blue, violet. Electric blue. And then the other one was the orange violet. Yeah, orange violet. Pretty sure that's what. Because the other colors in there is like a super purple, gray violet. It's color shift, so it's supposed to have, you're supposed to have different light waves, and then this red gold, which I don't know, looks pink to me, but anyway. So yeah, those are the colors I used. I used my yeah, these have little pieces of something in them that helps mix them up too. I did have to thin a couple of these a little bit, but for the most part, yeah, orange violet. So mostly these ones that are white shaded. I just thought I'd throw a little bit of, and it turned out darker than I thought. But color shifters, whatever they want to be called. So yeah, I couldn't find the individual colors. I couldn't find the colors individually. Nobody sold them individually. There's 3 different color shift packs. Space Dust had the closest to what I was wanting to look for, and but there's a couple other ones that they come in these packs of 6. You know, these packs of 6. So, and then, like I said, the other one was that pearlescent. It was just a white pearlescent. That's it. There was no other colors in there than the pearlescent. But so yeah, those are the colors, and that's the kit that I used for the color shifting. And then, you know, ivory is my main whole color. So it turned out, like I said, I'm happy with it. You know, it's not exactly the way I wanted it, but you know, it turned out okay. Yeah, because you can see the different things in there. So it's basically the way I wanted it. I mean, it does look like there's, you know, hull plates and whatnot on there, so that was kind of what I was going for. It's just, I think what messed me up was, like I said, that orange, violet orange or whatever, this color, it was a lot darker than I thought it would be, because all the rest of the colors were pretty light, and that one just, that's why I said if I was going to use that again, I should have put that one on first and then covered everything, you know, and it would have toned that down a bit. But, you know, hindsight's 20/20. But I'm happy with it. So anyway, as I was saying, this stage of everything is done. I got the decals, got all the painting, everything I want to do on this except the lighting. So now, and I've got it, like I said, I got the matte clear on there. So I don't have to worry about dicking up the decals and scratching the paint or doing anything like that. So yeah, so I'm happy with it. And I hope that it turns out the way I want it to. But yeah, the lighting, I'm looking forward to the lighting. It's going to be kind of tedious because wiring is always a interesting thing, and I'm going to be trying. I'm thinking about I'm going to be using hopefully 3mm LEDs. I don't know how many it's going to take to do what I want to do, but the little nabs and strobes are those little nano LEDs that I use, which, you know, I could use one per little hole, you know, because I've got all the colors that I need, and they're small enough to go in those tiny little holes that I made. But I don't know, we'll see how it looks, because I could put a little bit of fiber optic in these holes, just, you know, just in the hole itself, and then put the light behind it or whatever. And I painted a little bit on the inside just for my extra light blocking. So yeah, a little extra light blocking. And I've got those other things that I want to put on there that's got the you know, so yeah, and I'm actually looking forward to it. So anyway, so this is going to probably do it for this episode, or this installment. I know it's just mostly me doing this painting, which was very tedious, believe me, even more tedious than you'd think. But you just knock it out and do what you got to do, you know. And so anyway, I hope everybody's enjoying this, and we will see you on the next episode, which, like I said, I will be doing my starting my lighting and getting this part of the hole buttoned up and everything else. So it's a process, and I hope it turns out the way I want it to turn out. So all right, everybody, I hope we all have a good holiday, a good weekend, and we will see you on the next one. Bye.